Welcome back to True Stories, where real events turn into unforgettable, nightmarish moments. Tonight, we head deep into the frozen outskirts of northern Japan, where a routine food delivery takes a terrifying turn. In a place where the forest swallows the roads and lantern lights shouldn't exist, one driver discovers that some houses aren't marked on any map, and some customers were never meant to be found. Settle in, stay warm, and listen closely, because this is one winter delivery you'll never forget. I used to think late-night delivery runs were predictable. Quiet streets, tired customers, and the occasional odd request. After 3 steady years working for a tiny food app in northern Hokkaido, I thought nothing could surprise me anymore. But a single winter night on the outskirts of Kiyomori village, Japan changed that forever. It was early December, the kind of cold that feels sharp enough to crack your bones. Snow drifted across the roads like thin sheets of white fog. My old hatchback rattled every time the wind hit it, and the heater inside sputtered like it was giving up on life. I was exhausted and down to my last delivery before I planned to log off for the night. That's when my phone buzzed. A new order, one item, far outside the town limits, nearly 14 kilometers away. The name said Shiro Tanakawa. The address, Takamine Path. I'd never taken deliveries out there. People said the woods past Kiyomori grew so dense they swallowed sunlight even at noon. Still, the payout was good, and my rent wasn't going to pay itself. Inside Hanabira Noodle House, the warm air hit me like a wave. The owner, Akio, packed up the order while giving me that familiar worried glance. "You're heading toward Takamine Path?" she asked, her voice dropping. "Yeah. Why?" She hesitated. "Strange stories come from those hills. My brother said he once saw lantern lights moving through the forest, but no one was carrying them." I laughed it off, but her words stuck with me as I stepped back out into the cold. The farther I drove, the more the town lights disappeared. The forest tightened around the narrow road, branches scraping along my roof like fingernails. My tires groaned over the ice. Every few moments, the headlights caught glimpses of tall cedar trunks leaning so close they looked like they were listening. By the time I reached the turnoff, my hands were trembling on the wheel. The GPS insisted I had arrived, but the path ahead barely looked like a road. Snow piled up on both sides, untouched, no tracks, no signs of life, but at the very end of the clearing stood a house. 2 stories, dark wood. No decorations, no sound, just a single lantern glowing beside the door. I swallowed hard, grabbed the food, and trudged through the snow. Before I knocked, the door slid open. A tall man stood there, thin, with skin so pale it almost reflected the lantern light. His dark hair hung past his jaw, and his eyes looked like they hadn't rested in years. "Delivery?" he asked in a quiet, emotionless voice. I nodded and held out the bag. He didn't take it. Instead, he stepped aside slowly. "You can leave it inside. The counter is just there." A cold weight settled in my chest. I shook my head. "It's okay. I can hand it to you here." He tilted his head slightly as if confused. "It's warmer inside." But his voice wasn't warm at all. It felt like ice on the back of my neck. I set the food down on the step. That's when I heard it. A dull thud from the back of the house. Not an animal, something heavier, something dragging. The man didn't react. He simply stared past me into the forest behind my car like he was waiting for something or someone. I forced a smile, bowed slightly, and backed away. He closed the door without a word. I made it halfway across the snowy yard before I noticed movement in my side mirror. a shadow rounding the house. Then the man, now walking quickly, almost briskly, appeared from behind the corner. He was carrying something long and coiled. At first I thought it was a garden hose. Then the metal end caught my headlights. A hook, a heavy iron hook. My breath stopped. I jumped into the car, slammed it into reverse, and tore back down the path so fast the snow turned into a white blur. I didn't check the mirror until I reached the main road. When I finally did, he was still there, standing in the exact same spot where I'd left him, the hook hanging at his side, the lantern light flickering behind him like an otherworldly glow. Back in town, under the bright lights of a gas station, I tried to pull up the delivery again. But the order had vanished. No address. No customer name. No record of the delivery ever existing. When I showed Akio later that week, she shook her head slowly. "Takamine Path doesn't have any houses past the first bend," she whispered. "The land belongs to the forestry office. No one has lived up there in decades." To this day, whenever the first snow begins to fall in Kiyomori, my chest tightens. And sometimes, late at night, I swear I see a faint lantern glow flickering at the edge of the woods, right where the road disappears. Moral of the story: be cautious with the unseen and trust your instincts. Danger often hides behind the ordinary, waiting for those who ignore their own sense of fear.